Hello, this is Crystal Racing with the second part of my driver review with who has been the 10 best drivers in Formula 1 in 2019. Starting off with, in 10th place, it is Alex Albon with a very solid rookie season for Toro Rosso and Red Bull. At the start in the first few races, Alex Albon was clearly a little bit slower than Danny Kvyat, but at China, despite crashing out in practice, he was able to sit there and drive through the field and pick up a fantastic 10th place finish. Of course, he scored his first points in Bahrain after his teammate Kvyat got involved in an incident, but from then on, Albon really kicked on, impressing time and time again throughout the season at places like Monaco, and then, of course, pulling off a fantastic performance at Germany in what was his first ever driving away. And then, of course, he absolutely destroyed Kvyat at Hungary, where he finished in the points. And, of course, to everyone's surprise, Red Bull caught him up to the senior team. Of course, ever since then, he's had consistent scoring, top 6 finishes at Red Bull throughout the season, although he did blow his copybook with getting taken out of Brazil when P2 was on offer, and of course he probably made a bit of a hash of not defending the corner very well where he got taken out by Hamilton. But nonetheless, a very decent rookie season from the Thai driver. 9th place was Daniel Ricciardo. Now, it's not been the best season from Danny Ric, but he has adapted fairly well to what has been a very poor Renault chassis. Crashed out inexplicably in Australia. Then, whacked into Hulkenberg at Bahrain, where, of course, both cars broke down with a strange power unit failure, but then drove brilliantly well in China to finish in front of the midfield. And then, of course, he had that ridiculous mistake in Baku, where he reversed it to Kvyat. But then, of course, as the season went on, he picked his form up again at Monaco, qualified an amazing P4 at Canada. What a performance that was, and finished 5th in the race. Did suffer that penalty at France after overtaking Kimi on the blue lines, but, a bit harsh, but, the stewarding has been very all over the place this season. Impressed again at Britain. Finished another brilliant P4 at Italy, but whilst he did well at Japan, Mexico and America, we have seen better from Danny Ric, but next season he's going to be the team leader with Hulkenberg now getting replaced by Esteban Ocon, so that'll be an interesting matchup between Danny Ric and Esteban Ocon. PA 8th on my list, it is Charles Leclerc. A very decent first season at Ferrari for the Monegasque driver, but there have been some moments of contention for a few things that Charles really needs to improve on. In the first race of Australia, he looked a bit tentative, asking when he was allowed to go past Sebastian Vettel, but then, of course, at Bahrain, he turned up the wick. Oh my goodness, out took his first ever pole at Sakhir and then led most of the race and looked like he was on course for his first Grand Prix win until his car broke down and was forced to finish P3. The next few races he was a bit average. China, Baku, Spain wasn't that particularly great. Of course, he crashed out in Baku qualifying, which made his life a lot harder. Crashed out at Rascasse at Monaco in the race after Ferrari forgot to send him out for a second run in P1 in Q1, which of course made he had to start P16, and he turned up in the race in a very bad mood, and frankly, well, let's be honest, everyone involved didn't deal with the situation very well. Had an okay race at Canada, drove extremely well in France to finish P3 where he was on the back end of Bottas towards the end of the race. But then at Austria, he threw away what was a very, very probable race win when he left too much room on the hairpin on the final lap, on a few laps to go, and he was clearly furious when he got out of his car. And of course, from that point on, we saw a far more aggressive Charles Leclerc. Britain saw a fantastic battle between Charles Leclerc and his future rival Max Verstappen when he went wheel to wheel for so many laps. What a fantastic fight that was. Easily the battle of the year. But then, unfortunately, at Germany, he then crashed out in a race where, despite the fact it was extremely wet, he could have won, if we're going to be honest. Hungary got overtaken by Vettel, but then at Belgium and Italy, he really turned up the wick and he took his first 2 Grand Prix wins. First one came in tragic circumstances, where, of course, his close friend Antoine Hubert was killed in a horrific crash in a Formula 2 race the day before. Once again, triumph in the face of tragedy, which is a very, very common theme in Charles Leclerc's career, has to be said. Got to the Ferrari Academy when, after his godfather, George Bianchi, died, won the Baku Formula 2 race after the death of his dad, and now, of course, won his first F1 race the day after his close friend Hubert was killed. Then, of course, at Italy, he took an emotional win to win in front of the Tifosi, taking Ferrari's first win at Monza in 9 years. Yes, I know some of his driving that day was pushing the rule book a bit too far with him shoving Hamilton off the track, and I think giving a black and white flag was far too lenient. But it was, with the championship already over, and of course, the Tifosi probably on the verge of having an angry mental breakdown. The FIA were always going to be too chicken to strip the win off him that day, especially in light of what happened earlier on in the season at Canada with Vettel. Singapore then saw Leclerc get outsmarted by Vettel, but then at Russia, oh dearie me. I mean, to hear Charles Leclerc demand the team make Vettel pull over because, they had a pre-race agreement about all that nonsense was just ridiculous. And let's be honest, finishing P3 was what he deserved because, I just don't, Ferrari's management is for some reason losing grip under Matteo Binotto. Then at Japan, Charles Leclerc ran into the side of Max Verstappen, stupid mistake, but what was even more dumb is that they continued to let him drive around the track for 3 laps where all bits and pieces was coming off his car, and and a halo was there to defend Lewis Hamilton, which was a good thing, because what in the world were Ferrari and Leclerc doing, driving around for that long with that much damage hanging off the Ferrari? I have no idea. And then for the last 4 races, Leclerc did okay at Mexico. He got pole, but he finished P4. Not great. Well, P3 or P4, I can't remember. America, he finished over a minute behind, and the car that just wasn't working. Of course, apparently, there was Ferrari had to turn something down because, of course, there was the power unit for a second year in a row was getting investigated again. Brazil was just utter stupidity from both Vettel and Leclerc. Not going to go through that again. And then, of course, Leclerc finished P3 back in Abu Dhabi in a car that had no pace around Sector 3. Okay, on to the guy who finished 7th. It's Valtteri Bottas. Now, it's a massive improvement on what he did last season, but, despite some very, very outstanding performances at places like Melbourne in the start of this year, where he won emphatically by over 20 seconds over Hamilton, who was driving a damaged car, by the way, I have to say, considering this is probably the best chance we'll ever see for Bottas to win a world championship, I kind of think he can be somewhat a bit disappointed despite some very good performances. Because, let's be honest, from Spain onwards, he was mostly outperformed quite comfortably by Hamilton. Spain, France, Britain, and then, of course, what else? Mexico, Brazil, he was clearly outpaced, and, whilst he's picked up, 4 wins this season. Was it 4? I'm trying to count. I've lost count. How many races has he won this year? 4 or 5 wins this year, yeah, for Bottas. It's not if there's going to be someone from another team like Ferrari or Red Bull, in the case of Max Verstappen challenging Lewis Hamilton for the title, you can bet your bottom dollar Bottas will be a number 2 again. So, I have to say, and of course, considering how dominant Mercedes was at the start of the season, getting 5-1-2s, you would have probably expected a bit more from Bottas, but it does seem to be this is the sort of driver he really is. 6th place was George Russell. Now, I know some of you might find it a bit extraordinary that I've put someone like George Russell so high up, but when you consider how poor that Williams is, he has done a fantastic job. Throughout this season, he's out-qualified Kubica by 8/10 of a second, and there's been so many times where he was able to trouble some of the midfield cars in front of him, like the Alfa Romeos, the Haas's, the Toro Rossos at certain tracks. It's kind of always a bit hilarious to think that, in terms of the qualifying battle, George Russell had 21 shots on target, but Kubica FC won the game 1-0. Yeah, okay, I won't carry on that joke, but still, nevertheless, a very, very solid rookie year from George Russell, where, apart from a few gaffes here and there at places like Singapore where he collided with Grosjean, I can't see much wrong with George Russell's driving at all this year. 5th place was Sergio Perez. What can I say? This is probably going to be one of the best seasons I've ever seen from Perez. No, he didn't get a single podium, but the fact of the matter is, after Germany, in the second half of the season, his driving has been absolutely fantastic. Just scoring points so consistently throughout the year, getting up into P7 or P8, just keep scoring points here, there and everywhere, and Racing Point should be thankful they have a driver like Perez, because he is the reason why they have finished P7 in the championship. Without him, they probably would have been fighting, I don't know, they probably would have been fighting Haas for P8 or P9 or whatever. 4th place, it is Lando Norris. Now, I know some of you think this is a bit over the top, but despite the fact that he's only scored just over half of what Carlos Sainz scored, there have been some very, very brilliant races here and there when the car has been working for Lando. Did well in Australia, did well in Bahrain with that brilliant overtake of Gasly around the outside. Okay, he went through a bit of a lull after that, but then he picked up his form up again at Austria, where he was fighting Hamilton, Kimi Raikkonen and his teammate, and Vettel to name but few. Belgium and Singapore stood out as 2 other very, very good races for the young Briton. And of course, he signed up the season very well at Abu Dhabi, where he outpaced Sainz all weekend long. Then, of course, into 3rd place, Carlos Sainz, one of the midfield king this season. Smooth operator all the way. Once again, despite a poor start to the season at Melbourne and Bahrain, where his engine blew up, and then, of course, he ran into the side of Verstappen, from Baku onwards, Sainz really got the hammer down. Just so many good performances. I could name them all day. Baku, Spain, Monaco, Canada, France, Austria, Britain, Germany. Yes, I know he missed out on a podium in Germany, but, not everyone can be perfect. Hungary, what's it, 7 or 8 brilliant races in a row. Okay, he mocked up a little bit at Spa and Monza, okay, with the qualifying fast, but no one's perfect. And then, of course, he had a bit of another difficult race at Singapore. But then from Russia onwards, Carlos Sainz was just simply on the money again. And Japan, America, and then, of course, he finally got his first career podium at Brazil with, of course, he couldn't celebrate it immediately after the race because of an investigation, but what fantastic set of photos we got to see for Carlos Sainz. P3, a very deserved podium. Okay, no, the car was not quick, but Carlos Sainz absolutely outperformed that car to get it into a podium position. And then, of course, Yeah, Abu Dhabi, I think he only finished P10, but that 1 point got him ahead of Gasly for P6 in the championship. Well done, Chili Master. And then, of course, P2, the second best driver of the year. This is a controversial one. It is Lewis Hamilton. Yes, I know he started the year off absolutely fantastically well, dominated the first 8 races, but then from Austria onwards, it's not been smooth sailing for Hamilton, I have to say. You know, a subpar performance at Austria where he ran off the road and damaged his front wing, finishing P4. Dominated the British Grand Prix as always, because, you know, he loves Silverstone, but then he had that disastrous race at Germany where he crashed out twice, and, you know, I know he was unlucky with that botched pit stop, but he just came in and didn't tell anybody he was coming in. And of course he went past the bollard, completely wrong there. And frankly, how on earth he got P9 is literally beyond a miracle, because of course the 2 Alfa Romeos got 30-second penalty. He drove fantastically well at Hungary, where he made that where that extra pit stop made a difference in terms of helping him win that race instead of being stuck behind Max Verstappen all day. Drove the wheels off his Mercedes at Belgium when Leclerc, where he was absolutely, you know, all over the back of Leclerc in the last 10 laps, but couldn't. But of course, unfortunately for Lewis, the race ended after 44 laps. And then, of course, at Italy, he made a bit of a faff of trying to beat Leclerc, and I have to say, he got shoved off the track by Leclerc at one point. He really did do a poor job of making the tyres last. And then, of course, at Singapore, he finished P7 because of, P4 because of that poor pit strategy by the team. And let's be honest, he was quite lucky to finish there because Bottas was told to hold up Albon. Russia, he won the race because Ferrari messed everything up again. Japan, now, I know some people have there was a bit of controversy over him having to do a second pit stop, but Bottas, I think, was a bit better that day. Won the race in Mexico. I'm not sure whether that was really Hamilton being great, although there was quite a bit of tyre deck on his car, but of course Ferrari, as per usual, messed up the strategy. Finished second at Kota. Not his best performance. I know what was it. He qualified P5, I mean, for crying out loud. I mean, one thing I will say about Lewis Hamilton's season is that he has been struggling in qualifying an awful lot. And whilst, you know, up against Bottas, it doesn't really matter that much if you mess up qualifying because Bottas is not that great a driver. Up against a real top talent like Leclerc and Verstappen, if they have a better car next season, Lewis could well be caught on his arse. So, hence why Lewis Hamilton is only the second best driver this year. And of course, as you probably have guessed by now, Max Verstappen is my driver of the season. Absolutely obliterated Pierre Gasly in the first half of the season. Easily outpacing Albon in the second half of the season. You know, in the first year of Red Bull's partnership with Honda, Max Verstappen has delivered 3 race wins. First one in Austria with that very strong overtake on Leclerc, one in the wet dry conditions at Hockenheim, and then of course one brilliantly at Interlagos where he absolutely outdrove Lewis Hamilton that day and outdrove everyone on the track despite 2 safety cars. I am absolutely out to similarities with Max Verstappen. Yes, I know he's had some immature moments like Mexico where he admitted to keeping his foot flat under yellow flags when Bottas had crashed out in the last minute of qualifying. Yes, I know he was an idiot for crashing into Kimi at Belgium and then just trying to throwing Kimi under the bus for no reason. Had a bit of an average race at Monza, but look, I mean, it's not much for me to criticise Max Verstappen this season. His maturity has improved massively. He looks he has stepped up to the plate of being a team leader very well. And, you know, just imagine if Red Bull could deliver a championship contending car next year, he will be right up there. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe to Crystal Racing, and I'll see you again next time.